I just got a quick comment on homelessness in Japan, and someone asking, would you feel okay giving food to a homeless person in Japan, and is it kind of different than the U.S.? And it definitely is different here. There are a couple different varieties of homeless people where they fit into an archetype around here, a certain type of homeless man. You see and all of them are much more organized than I see in the States usually. You see the box collectors who are going around, and they have a big cart. It's an old farm cart usually, and it's just full of cardboard boxes, and they pick up all the boxes from in front of the stores. And my phone's ringing. I have a message. But they're collecting all these boxes, and sometimes they're collecting cans as well. The can collectors are also kind of separate. You notice them on bicycles, often with flat tires, but much more kind of industrial bicycles, really sturdy, because they've been thrown together from all sorts of pieces and rebanged together and fixed many times. So the kickstands on them are huge, and it's all old pieces that are thrown together, but it's really solid in that way. And almost always with flat tires or low air in the tires. The guys who go around and collect cans, the box guys, them, and they're also guys who just collect a couple boxes from in front of the stores on the strip mall that goes up and down the center of Osaka. And if you go down there in the evenings after the crowds have cleared out and the stores are closed, we have just slight inlets in front of the stores, and you're out of the walking path. They'll take boxes, they lay a cardboard box down and kind of build a cardboard box for it to sleep in for the night. You see quite a few of those guys. The can collectors, you see them on bicycles. I'm not sure where they take all the cans, but they probably get some cash for collecting all the aluminum cans. And they're sorting them out of the garbage in the park, and they pick them up from in front of my building. See them all over the place. And most of them are on bicycles. You'll see large stacks of cans, and they're out there crushing cans. There's a guy I often saw. He obviously had a routine. I would see him in the same place at about the same time when going to work. The guy who's around here, he's almost a part of the community in a lot of ways. And some days he looks more clean-kept than others. I've seen him rummaging through the large items that people leave by the trash collection area, and he picks up cans, and I've seen him just sitting out reading a newspaper. I've seen him talking to other people around here, and I'm quite sure he's homeless, but he seems to be just a part of the community. And then there's the other more kind of established homeless people in the parks, often under bridges. I've seen them a lot under bridges, the Kamogawa in Kyoto, which actually they cleared a bunch of them out for a big festival along the river. But those guys actually literally make houses out of the blue tarps that, just blue plastic tarps, usually that are used for barbecues. So I don't think they're necessarily buying them new, but they're taking people's old barbecue tarps and they're turning them into real tents and houses, and they're little tent cities here and there. And those guys, some of them are pretty well established. You'll see bike parts and stoves, and I've even heard generators running in those areas. And those guys, I'm not as afraid of homeless people here. Not that I'm necessarily afraid of homeless people in the States, but I think you'd be more likely to find someone who is homeless, hungry, facing a drug addiction, or in some other way pushed to a point where they would inflict harm on someone or do something that I would find scary. Here, I don't see that as a problem. You see them all over the place. Not all over the place, but you see them pretty frequently. But they're not frightening. And it's weird that they're partly ignored, and some of them are in the same place doing the same thing every time. Some of them are just begging. A lot of them doing something small to keep going. I saw a guy the other week who was selling little toys under a bridge, under a train overpass. Fairly busy area, but it looked like a bunch of what were kids' toys. And he obviously didn't have anything else, but he was just hoping people would come by and he'd be able to sell them. I guess one other just story. I was in a park at a barbecue gosh, it's I want to say almost a year ago now. And there were two guys in the park that just looked too clean cut to be to have been homeless for very long. One guy had glasses that fit, their clothes seemed to be the right size, even though they were dirty. And both of them were fairly proud. And the first guy I talked to, I said, "You don't seem like you fit here." And he had run away because of financial troubles, and he used to work at a car dealership, or some car company, dealership, export company. Things weren't going very well, and he ran away. He was from a town 2 hours away, and being homeless in Osaka is apparently easier. And I think also people wouldn't recognize him. And I talked to the other guy for a few minutes, and I said, "Isn't this really a hard transition?" Because the two of them had come together. And he said, "Yeah, it was hard for me, but harder for him." Because the first guy I talked to had been the president of the company, apparently. And he was really too proud to tell me that. And I told this to a friend who kind of doubted it, but I think they were pretty sincere. And they also, because we were having a barbecue and stuff, I think I gave them $10 and some food from the barbecue, and they were both really reluctant to take it. They were thankful, but they found it really hard. It's kind of interesting to see that as well. I think that's one of the reasons that made me really believe their story. These guys, they didn't want to take it, but they knew there wasn't really an option for them. That it was, not that they were going to starve. They were still, these guys were obviously, again, collecting cans and doing something to get by and figuring things out. But, they're in a position where they couldn't say no, even though they were, still had the pride that they didn't want to. Maybe I'll see if I can put together some more on the homeless in Osaka. It's kind of an interesting subject. We'll see.